what's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with the review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 27, I believe it is. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So the show started. Now, I think I missed like the first couple of minutes of the show. But when I first came into the show, I feel like I came in right at the beginning, and we see Kimmy and Maurice. They're talking, and Kimmy is complaining to Maurice that she feels like he doesn't help her as usual. I don't know what she feels like he hasn't helped her with, but that's a common complaint that Kimmy has about Maurice. Maurice does what Maurice does, and Kimmy would like for him to join in and help her out sometimes, and Maurice just ain't got time. I said, Kimmy, girl, now if we know this about Maurice and you don't know it, and you've been married to the nigga all this time, then I know something. Okay, girl, he ain't changing. That's what he is. Figure that shit out by yourself. Anyways, he asked her how was the outing that she had with Leticia the other day. You know, where did she go? What did she get done? And she was like, oh, she had a vaginal steam. And he was just like, all this new age bullshit. Like, what happens at a vaginal steam? She was just like, oh, they have it, you steam it. It's supposed to get rid of all the toxins and all that, detoxify. They even had a steam that was supposed to help increase libido. So I asked about that. I did. And he's just like, he doesn't believe in the vaginal steam. He says that the body is self-cleansing and it gets rid of all its toxins on its own. And she was like, yes, that's true. But she also knows that the body has a lot of things that go in it that, the good Lord did not intend for the body to take. And, they didn't do detoxifying maybe 100 years ago, but they didn't also have McDonald's and fast food restaurants and alcohol and drugs and all the other shit that we put in our bodies maybe 100 years ago. I mean, they probably did, but you know what I mean. Anyways, Kimmy is so anxious to tell Maurice about Leticia at the steaming place and the fact that she took a pregnancy test. Okay? And while it was kind of like a girl, you tripping when they were together, when Kimmy and Leticia were together, I was just like, girl, you was way too. I mean, I know that, you have pillow talk with your spouse and you tell them like, don't you say shit. Okay. But she was just like, she took a test. And when he was like, me and Marcel both had our vasectomy. She's like, yes, I know. And she took a test, and I told her, like, that's not a good look. Like, you can't be taking tests. And Marcel had his vasectomy, and, Maurice didn't like that. He was like, well, what was she thinking? Why would she take a test? She was like, well, maybe she said that maybe one slipped through. I mean, yeah, you've heard of that happening. Even though it doesn't happen often, every now and then you'll hear a story about somebody getting pregnant from somebody that's had a vasectomy. There's probably a very low chance of it happening, but it does happen. So, yeah, I just was just like, Kimmy, girl, you was really excited about this pregnancy test, And Maurice said that he not going to tell Marceau, but the way that they harping on it just in this one scene, we already know Marceau was going to find out. Okay, Marceau was going to find out about it. But she tells him how Leticia was also complaining about her just being overwhelmed and tired and a lot going on and all of that. So that's the reason why she just feels so tired. But yeah, that pregnancy test thing kind of threw them for a loop. Now, speaking of Leticia, we see Stormy. Stormy tells us that, she's pretty proud of herself that she was able to get Kiki and Tiffany to sit down and talk. Okay, she feels like she was able to bridge that problem that they were having. So maybe she can have the same success with with Kiki and Leticia. She hates to see families fighting. The fact that her mother and her aunt fight, that's why she wants to just be able to fix this. I was like, Stormy, you just need to not worry about Leticia and Kiki. Okay. Like, that's fine if that's how you feel, but Leticia has said a trillion times that she don't want to talk about it no more, and you guys still keep on doing it. And I don't know why Stormy is the one to bring all of this, but yeah, Stormy, just mind your business. Just mind your business. So when Stormy asks her how she and Kiki are doing, and again, Leticia tells her like she's don't want to deal with it. She don't want to talk about Kiki. That it's just a done deal. She's decided to write it off. That she's done with that. She don't want to talk about it no more. All right. She knows that she doesn't have proof that Kiki is on drugs, but she still feels that Kiki is on drugs. Now, we know that Kiki took a drug test with Mel, and supposedly everything was negative, so she wasn't on drugs. And of course, we ain't seen no tests or nothing. We just going by what folks are saying. But she supposedly is not on drugs. Stormy knows that. And so Stormy is frustrated with the fact that everybody is just assuming that the girl is on drugs. All right. Tisha tries to explain to Stormy, like, you know how it feels. Like, even at the barbecue, you got emotional when you were talking about your best friend being on drugs and all. You know, like, all Leticia was trying to tell her was, like, give a bitch some grace. Like, the same way you don't feel like talking about your best friend, or the way that you get emotional with it. Like, I don't want to talk about what's going on with me and Kiki. You know, we've been going through this for many, many years. Okay. Like I said, certain things you just need to not be a part of, Stormy. So I understood what Leticia was trying to explain to Stormy. So whatever. So anyway, they're still talking. And, Stormy was like, well, didn't you just get back in town? Now we start to realize that this conversation was really more about Stormy confronting Leticia. But they just did a real roundabout way of getting to it. So anyway, Stormy asked her, how was her trip? She just got back from Vegas. Oh, yeah, she had a good time. Oh, it was so much fun. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, did Marceau go with you? No, he didn't go. He went, where he go? He went with his friends. Like, they went to Columbia. And Stormy was like, Columbia? Like, what, they went out there for their bachelor party? Is that like where they have all the brothels at? And I was just like, oh, here we go. Okay, the age-old question of whether or not Marceau is cheating on Leticia. I don't even care if Marceau is cheating on Leticia at this point. Why does everybody just really insist on trying to break them two up? If they say they want to be together, why y'all bringing it? If the man out there at the brothels, then why is everybody so worried about what Marceau is doing? It's just... hell, when I heard Columbia, I thought of when motherfuckers get abducted out there, kidnapped. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, I guess they got a lot of, women that's sleeping with the men out there, the brothels and everything. And Leticia didn't know anything about it. That's the other thing, Leticia always like, what? No, I didn't know. It's just sort of like, are you guys playing in our faces? I was like, Roxanne, you starting to get a little too skeptical again. Remember, you said you was just going to watch and enjoy. But sometimes I just be watching. I just be like, you guys really think we stupid, huh? Anyways, Leticia asked how Courtney was. Courtney fine, but Courtney don't play like Marceau. Like, Marceau be playing and Courtney don't. Okay, Courtney ain't got time to be playing. Courtney will beat his ass, basically. And her saying that made me confused as to why she felt like they needed to go on a double date. Again, y'all playing in our face. It's clear that Courtney and Marceau don't really like each other. Okay. And so why do we need to go on a double date? Well, I'm not going on no double date with some other couple and my husband don't like that. It's just like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? But finally, Stormy brings up what has been bothering her. And that was my other thing. It was just like, you got this passive aggressive tendencies. I don't like it. You should have said from the very beginning, you and Leticia talking, if you was upset about the website, which is a legitimate gripe, okay? Now we talking about business. We ain't talking about this reality show shit and creating for the TV and, for the viewers and everything. I'm talking about my business now. My $1 million business that has, made me a lot of money and I'm protective over, okay? Now the problem needs to be discussed that you guys stole from my website. Now, this is when I jumped from being off of Stormy's side onto Stormy's side, because the way that Leticia tried to downplay that, it was just like, oh yeah, I did talk to my team, that was my team's fault, and I did correct it. I called the web designer and I told them, that they wasn't gonna be designing and you could say all of that. But yes, you were supposed to apologize to Stormy. Leticia was just like, I'm not apologizing because it was not me. But the whole thing, like Stormy said, if this is a business and you the CEO, then yes, it's going to fall on you. Even if it is your team. Okay, we smart enough to realize that maybe it was your team, but did your team get any kind of direction? Why was they looking at her website to begin with? And then you were stupid enough to put somebody in place that actually copies word for word. Like, even if you sat there and told the man, okay, look at her website and try to design it to, to look similar to hers, This fool ain't even had sense enough not to change the damn email address that would actually go to Stormy instead of, it's just sort of like they actually copied and paste word for word and put it on your website. Do you not believe that you shouldn't apologize to this woman? You guys directly stole from her. Yes, you owed her an apology. Okay? Yeah, we understand it wasn't you, but somebody that stole, and you was privy to some of this. I really feel like she told them to look at her website and copy it, and they did it like really for real, like literally. Okay? But Leticia's attitude with Stormy is so wrong. The fact that she will not apologize. And I was just like, you were just 100% wrong on that, Leticia. Like, we can't, Stormy didn't do nothing on this one. Okay? But yeah, Leticia says she's not apologizing. Now, later on, we see Leticia meet up with Mel and Kimmy. Before Mel gets there, and, Kimmy and Leticia are sitting there talking, Kimmy again. Did you tell Marceau that you took a pregnancy test? Kimmy, calm down. Leticia was like, no, I ain't told him. You're going to have to tell him. Okay, she going to tell him. All right. Because if she don't tell him, who going to tell him, Kimmy? All right. We already know Kimmy is chomping at the bit to want to say something with her big mouth. She knows that that's going to be some good TV. Anyway, while they're sitting there talking, Mel walks in. Mel all soft voice. Hey, everybody. They was like, hey, Mel, you look so nice. Y'all do too. Everybody looks so good. How y'all doing? Okay. I was like, look at everybody being extremely pleasant with each other. I am proud. I will say that I am proud of Mel and Leticia and Kimmy. I am proud of the three of them, that these three have finally, even if it's just for TV, that these three have decided to not just be bickering and bickering. It's nice nasty sometimes, but like I could appreciate the fact that Mel and Leticia tries to talk through things a little bit. Actually, this conversation that they had, it was a good conversation. So I think it was eye-opening for some people, namely Kimmy, because we start off about the name change ceremony. And Kimmy was like, yeah, I saw that you had a name change ceremony, it was on Facebook and everything. Like, I didn't get an invitation. I was looking for mine, and Leticia's just sitting over there like, Leticia was like, I already knew I wasn't getting an invitation, so I didn't feel no way about it. She was like, but I know that Mel and Kimmy, Mel said Kimmy is the only person that, has been there for her, and supposedly they supposed to be real close and ace boom coons and all of that. Remember, I told you guys back then that these folks ain't friends. I was just like, Kimmy is not friends with Mel like that, but that's what they was trying to tell us at the reunion and all. And but now we see, when it came to that names change ceremony, and we know that Mel, was important to her to have people that loved and supported her there. Kimmy wasn't there. Okay. So yeah, the writing is on the wall. We cool. You my cool close friend on this show, but not in real life. So Kimmy was a little upset about that. I think Kimmy probably had a right to feel that way, but I understood how Mel felt too. Mel's just like, hell, we ain't even really liked each other, just last season. This season we are working to try to work it out, but we can't forget the last few seasons of us fighting and really being at each other's necks and everything. And really, Mel, Kimmy is not her friend like that. Now Kimmy is clear. I'm sure Kimmy will now operate knowing that information. But I felt like Kimmy also was kind of taking a jab at Mel, because she felt that way, that the way that she presented her argument about the last name change. I have heard plenty of people say that they wouldn't change their last name even if they got a divorce, because it will be an issue with the last name being different from your children's. It doesn't really matter as much when you're older, but when you're younger, when your kids are younger and you are at school, like say if you go to visit your kid's teacher and your kid's last name is Jones and then your last name is Johnson, all right, and now your last names don't match, so now people might think that that's not their babies, that your husband might not be their father, or all this. And it's kind of some people look at it as being a negative. Okay, it's good to have the same last name as your kid. Like, to me, it would depend on, like, if me and Mr. got a divorce today, at this age, I'm keeping this last name. You know, my kids are grown, and all of that. And fuck, I've been having this last name for 25 fucking years. It's too much trouble to change this shit over and changing my social security, all of that. Like, I'm not doing none of that again. However, if I was young, like if I was in my 30s and we got a divorce, and I probably would remarry and all of that, or if in Mel's case, if the situation would have been as bad of a breakup as Mel and Martell had, then I probably wouldn't want to keep a hold of that last name. What has that last name done for me? It did a lot at first, and then it did a lot negatively. And I don't even want to be attached to that shit no more. People know me now. They know I'm Melody. Just from my first name, so it's just like, I don't even need Holt anymore. So I'm not mad at Mel for doing that. And like Mel said to Kimmy, you and your son don't have the same last name anymore anyway. And it doesn't even matter. My kids know who they are. They know what last name they had, why they got a new one. They know everything. So it's really not no big deal. She don't care what other people think of whether or not her and her kids have two different last names. Okay. But the way that Kimmy was making it seem was just like, I wouldn't change my last name because, you don't have the same. It just was very kind of finger pointing. I don't know. I just have seen Kimmy present things a little bit less messy than the way that she did this time. So I feel like she did that because she was pissed at Mel for not having her at the what's her name. But anyway, they got through that. We didn't have nobody get mad, even though, Mel was sort of like, like this. Like I said, nice, nasty, but they still did nobody fly off the handle. Even when they started talking about Kiki and Leticia, even mentioning, like, our situation is so delicate because anything can be a misunderstanding. So it is good that we can sit and we can talk. And that's why I did enjoy this conversation, because this conversation actually felt authentic. And Mel and Leticia realizing that in order to make this show still work, that them two are going to have to try to find some sort of common ground. And, I think that they've been trying to do that this season. Leticia now has gotten on our nerves with, Stormy and all this other shit. But at least Mel and Leticia, I guess now we doing better when it comes to them anyway. Now, jumping over to Stormy. Stormy and Courtney are at a pool hall. Remember, she said that her and Leticia and them, they need to go on a double date. Well, now is the double date. We see them there. They get there first. Okay, I got 2 words for Courtney. Next size. Okay, just next size. This tight-ass t-shirt and these tight-ass jeans shorts. It's like, why your clothes so gripped up on you and everything? Y'all know Courtney is my boy. Actually, Courtney is my favorite person on the show. Okay, I do really like Courtney, but yeah, Courtney, them clothes was real close. Anyway, Stormy was just like, I know they want to feel like they celebrities and everything on this show. They know how to deal with these types as well. Because I guess Stormy feels like, honey, I got a real legitimate $1 million job. Okay, y'all got a whole bunch of hustles. That's probably what Stormy thinks. But anyway, so they get there and, it's fake haze and hugs and whatever, greeting and all. But it's tension. And it's uncomfortable, and I wouldn't have wanted to do this scene. Marceau was just like, yes, it's tension filled in here. And Courtney was just like, I don't even have a problem. Like, I don't know why it's tension, because I don't really have a problem with Marceau. Marceau is just disrespectful, okay? And Marceau was just like, it's funny that you telling me that I'm disrespectful, but your wife called me bitch 1 million times. Like, you didn't have a problem with her calling me bitch, but, he had called Courtney Mr. Steele, and that's Stormy's last name apparently, and Stormy didn't change her last name, I guess maybe professionally or whatever. And so Courtney was just like, you knew that that's not my last name. Why would you call me that? Why would you call me that? And Marceau was just like, well, you know that I'm not a bitch, but your wife was sitting there calling me a bitch all this time, and you did never stop her. Okay, now Marceau has a point. Okay, because Stormy, like I told you, Stormy is that wife that's gonna get her husband in trouble from her mouth. All right, because she was just like, but why you didn't reach out? I mean, why you didn't lash out at me? And he was just like, but see, that's the thing. I'm not going to lash out at you because you're a woman. And anytime, he didn't say this, but we already know, anytime these men get to arguing with women on this show, then everybody is like, they don't like women, blah, 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 blah. He treat, disrespectful and all of this. So he was like, so I am going to come after your husband. All right. And so that's why Courtney is catching these strays and everything. And that's why I was just like, Stormy mouth always talking about things is the reason why Courtney has found himself having to deal with, Marceau and all that. It's the same thing with Lou and Tiffany. Lou don't want to have to deal with having to defend Tiffany anymore. That's why Lou was just like, this show ain't for us. And now Stormy and Courtney is about to head down that same road because Courtney, his problem with Marceau is Marceau's problem with Stormy. And Marceau is always going to say whatever. Marceau is going to be Marceau all the time. So you're going to have to either deal with it or not. Now, Stormy standing by the bitch thing, you wrong. I mean, you calling a man the bitch. Yes, you was wrong for saying that. Okay. I mean, you can feel like that, but people going to have a reaction. A man is going to have a reaction if a woman is sitting there calling him a bitch. I just was mad because I feel like Stormy's this passive aggressive. You really mad about this website. You need to express how you feel about the website. Why are you going through all of these other changes and trying to piss them off about stuff? But what you really want to say is, you guys stole from my website and I don't appreciate that shit and I want somebody to apologize to me. It's not that big of a deal, but the fact that I know that you guys stole from me, somebody need to say sorry to me. Okay, but she ain't saying all that. She's poking at them, doing all this other stuff, which, I guess Stormy, this is her best way to get a reaction out of them because it's clear that they're not going to apologize. Tisha was like, she doesn't have a problem really with Marceau. It really is with Leticia. And I was like, yeah, she does have a problem with you. She has a problem with both of you, but her problem with you is all about that website. And then lastly, you guys, we see Chris and Nell. Chris goes to talk to Nell, and Chris is really concerned about CJ. I know they don't call him CJ, but it's easier for me. CJ is the son. Okay. And you guys know last week he sat down and talked to the son and found out that the son might be depressed and everything. And remember I told you guys last week that Nell is that parent that's just fed up. It's always like you got that one parent that's still trying to hold everything together, and then the other one that's really fed up. That's where Nell is. Okay. But Chris is the more compassionate one. So he's telling her like, I was talking to him and I just really kind of just feel like, he's sad. He feels like everybody is after him. He doesn't, and she was just like, well, of course everybody is going to jump on him when he comes around the family because nobody can ever get in touch with him. He don't answer his phone. He don't call nobody, so nobody can reach him. So when we finally do get him, we got a lot to say. And Chris was just like, yeah, but the problem is like, he don't like that. And it like upsets him. And she was just like, well, she can't worry about what upsets him and what don't upset him. She upset that her money is gone and she got to take care of his dogs and he ain't trying to give her money back and all that. He won't even talk to her and all that. So she just sort of like, I can't worry about CJ and his problems over there. But Chris was like, no, you need to understand, like, this is bad. Like, I feel like it's depression that he's going through. Do you know he told me that he gets up at 2 and 3 in the morning, just gets up in the middle of the night. She was like, gets up? What are you doing up at 2 and 3 in the morning? What's open at 2 and 3 in the morning? I said, you know what's open at 2 and 3 in the morning. He ain't even out there trying to get some cut. He's just trying to clear his mind. He can't sleep, so he gets up, he just drives around. And she was just like, oh no, he can't be doing shit like that. That's how you get in trouble. Like, you be out there on them streets, you ain't even done nothing, but you might end up, in the wrong place. So she was just like, oh no, he can't be doing that. And he was like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, something is really wrong there. It's not just him feeling like he, feeling down and he don't want to talk to nobody. Like, I feel like he really is depressed. And Nell was just like, oh, that do kind of sound like depression. So then Nell started to kind of change her story. Like, well, I didn't know it was as bad as that. Yeah, maybe that is a problem. Chris was like, well, I got him to agree that, maybe he needs to go to therapy. And Nell was just like, okay, well, yeah, if he said he'd go to therapy, I'm willing to back off. I won't ask him for the money. I won't talk to him about the dogs and all of that. I'll wait and see if therapy can maybe help him, because, Nell was just like, oh, I didn't know he was going through all of that and everything. But yeah, I'll lay off. I'll give him a little space to try to get his head right and everything. I'm sure Nell still want her money, but she also would like for her son to be okay. I guess it is refreshing also that the Fletchers, even though all this is just so all of a sudden, I guess it is nice to see another family that's coming in that ain't got nothing to do with the drama of anybody else on this show. Like, they have their own little separate drama over here. I guess I can appreciate that only because I'm just tired of the Mel, Leticia, Kimmy dramas and all of the stuff over there. So, this is something else that's new. We'll just have to see how it goes. But I can see that there's a shift on the show. They're trying to change some things. I'm not sure exactly what the change exactly is trying to be just yet, but do you guys also feel that they're trying to shift the show a little bit? Y'all let me know. All right, you guys, that is it. Let me get off of here. I gotta go walk Blue and get this edited and up to you guys. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I'm Roxanne. The channel is itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.